Okay, it's recording.
Okay, cool. I don't have a video of you, but I have my video showing, so it should work out.
My video, I can see both of us.
Okay, perfect. That should work.
Okay.
So, good morning, April 17th. How are you doing today?
It's Friday, Dave. It's been a long week.
I know, eh?
It's been a long week. It's been a long week. Good week. Good week if you can have a good week during a pandemic. The sweep in the globe, but no, it's a good week. Everybody's hitting on all cylinders and everybody's engaged. So our citizens should have confidence.
How are our numbers locally, as far as people that are either considered to have COVID or confirmed?
The last number I saw was 14 confirmed. Don't have a presumptive number, Dave, but 14, and some have been deemed community spread, and that's the one that we worry about, is the community spread. So if there was anything that keeps us up at night, it's the community spread of things. The vast majority have been related to travel.
Yeah, I saw that. Do you have a number for how many people have needed hospitalization?
Dave, I would be guessing, because I don't try to keep track of that. That's the health unit that does that. But I believe there's 2 or 3.
Well, not too bad then, eh? Really?
No. North Bay should pat themselves on the back with the social distancing and the citizens following all the recommendations. They've done a tremendous job. So we're not out of it. You can't have too much confidence. The last thing you want is somebody to let their guard down and say, oh yeah, it's good, because it's not. And I think the one thing, if I could leave an impression on everybody's mind, is you have to assume that everybody has COVID when there's community spread. So make sure you stay 6 feet away from everyone, wash your hands, don't go to work if you're sick, stay home if you can. That will protect you.
So what do you think of the wearing a face covering, whether it's homemade or not, in public when you're like doing your essential shopping? I did that yesterday, and there's more than the last time wearing masks in the grocery store, but still not that many. What do you think of that?
Well, the medical officer of health and the Canadian medical officer of health for Canada had said that the mask won't really help. I don't know. I guess my impression is anytime that you can contain any moisture coming out of your mouth towards other people, or because you think of how you're speaking, and there could be, I don't know what you call it, a spray of some kind, I think will be fine.
I think you call it speaking moistly now.
Yeah, you know what? People jump on every little.
It's just a fun thing.
I mean, I heard him say that, and I'm thinking, whatever. Like, but yeah, like I guess people have so much time on their hands now because they're stuck at the house. They're gonna. He said "the" 4 times. You shouldn't do that.
Yeah, I know, but the speaking moistly thing, that's just fun. Like it's no big deal, but it's fun, right? And actually, the medical officer of health for Canada and locally, they do recognize that wearing the mask does protect other people if you have it, because you don't know whether you have it, right? Nobody knows whether they have it.
Correct. So I'm just trying to be careful. I'm not trying to avoid your question. I've learned a long time not to make any statement around medical advice, including this would be good or not. So
let me put it to you like this. Would you wear a mask in case you have it, you don't know it, but you're out in public and you want to make sure you're not breathing on people with possibly virus-laden breath?
Would I wear one?
Would you wear one?
If the medical officer of health told me to wear one, I would. I don't think I would do one on my own, to be honest.
Okay. Fair enough.
But I mean, I come to the office every day and there's like 4 people on our floor. No one else is allowed on the floor. So we stay 6-10 feet apart from one another, and I go home to Wendy. So I don't get to talk to people on a day-to-day basis. And I'll be honest, Dave, I can't go grocery shopping at the best of times. One, I'm terrible at it. Two, Wendy loves doing it. And three, it would take me 4 hours to go grocery shopping.
I got you. Okay, cool. I just wanted to ask you because I was curious. I actually believe that if there is like more evidence of the virus in North Bay, that it would be a good thing if everybody just wore a mask. That way, I'm protecting you, you're protecting me, and we can go about our stuff. We can still keep our 6 feet and wash our hands, but it's a good sign. I think it's a good sign that everybody's on board and trying to protect each other. I'm not in the majority.
So from a totally non-medical perspective, just a layman's perspective, I don't disagree with you.
I'll take that. So the city had a number of big capital projects on the burner before this hit. I was wondering if I could ask you, what is there any way to push forward the Castle Home expansion, and are you going to pull back a little bit on the twin pad and sports tourism idea?
So yeah, you can ask that question.
Okay.
So you started the, can I ask you that? So I said, yeah, go ahead. I'm kidding, Dave.
I know.
I've seen your show, so I'm just paying attention to your question.
That's cool. So answer.
So Castle Street was delayed. So that was a 2-year project. It was delayed. It's been delayed at least 30 days. You asked about Castle Home. I don't sit on that board. Could they go out to RFP? Yes, I hope they do, to be honest. It's not my call, but I hope that they do. If they can't start building for whatever regulation for 6 months, and when they get the green light, they can go. They can start and get going right away. So absolutely, I hope they send it out to RFP and they're shovel ready when they get the okay. For us, for our capital projects, we are going ahead with all our RFPs, requests for proposals. We might not be able to allow them to move forward because of the COVID regulations, but when they do give us the green light, it's not like we have to wait 6 months to get approvals to go ahead. We've got it all done. So we call that economic recovery readiness. So we want to be ready day one and all the projects being able to be pushed out the door when we get the go ahead.
When we're looking at the twin pad for out by Michelle and the whole sports tourism thing, I know it's early, but it doesn't look great for sports tourism going forward for next couple years. It just doesn't. Is there any kind of discussion like, we have to rethink that strategy, or is it still keeping an eye on the ball?
A bit of both, to be honest. We don't know when people are going to travel, and even if the Prime Minister or the medical officer of health says it's okay to travel, I think people are going to go, yeah, I might wait a bit, right? It's just the way it is, right? Human nature is, they're scared. People are scared. So are we focused on sports tourism right now? Absolutely not. Like, there's no sense because no one's going to be able to travel for this part of the season. Anything that's booked into the future, we don't want to cancel unless we're told to cancel it. Does it mean that people will actually come? Who knows? But it absolutely is on the back burner for sports tourism. There's no question about it. Should we be planning way past that? Yes, and I think that's what Tourism North Bay is doing, but they're the best ones to answer on that question. But I always like to be prepared. I always like to think of the future. I just want to be ready whenever that might be, because the last thing I want Dave Dale saying to the mayor is, you knew this was going to end one day. Why didn't you have a plan to get it in place on day one? So, and that's a very good criticism and a very good question. That's why we want to make sure we're ready, not just because of Dave Dale, but there'll be 52,000 people out there saying the same thing to us. For the arena or the twin pad, that will be a council decision. So the question would be, do we go ahead and design it, which is just about done? Do we send it out to RFP and just hold on until we get the go-ahead, and or is there going to be government stimulus packages for shovel-ready projects? So I would think that we want to be ready to go if we got the go-ahead and there's provincial money and federal money, versus well, we're not shovel-ready, but all the funding's for shovel-ready projects. So we'll get criticized if we go ahead and be shovel-ready. And we get criticized if we don't do it and all the money did appear for shovel-ready projects. So my recommendation, and I get one vote, would be we should be shovel-ready and we can just not go ahead.
Yeah, well, I would concur with that, Al. I agree with you.
Wow, that's one time in 20 years now.
No, I'm keeping track. That's number 3. I also wanted to ask you about the experience with trying to help our homeless and having a place at the Y, and now that's being moved to Pete Palangio. I know the reason for the Y was a central location plus other amenities, but is there a transportation plan to help the homeless that need help out at Pete Palangio?
Yes, there is. We do have transit. We will provide transportation for these individuals, and that's a 24-hour center, right? So they don't really have to leave. It's almost like a home now for them. There was a lot of speculation in our community that we moved from the YMCA to double rinks because of some of the complaints in the neighborhood. That's completely false. The only reason it was moved was capacity issues. They were actually turning people away because they hit the maximum, and there was no place to self-isolate individuals that might test positive. So we looked at all 3 arenas. So some will say, well, why didn't you just go to Memorial Gardens? It's right next door. Here's what we looked at. So we could move to Memorial Gardens, and I'm not going to go into too much detail, but we didn't pick Memorial Gardens, so maybe people can read between the lines here, because if this turns bad, we're going to need Memorial Gardens.
Well, that's the main emergency place for the whole city, right?
Correct. Yeah. So if things get really bad, we need Memorial Gardens.
Yeah, it has to be available.
It has to be available. So it was not an option. We did look at West Ferris, and it would work. There's no question about it. Transportation was still a challenge, like double rinks. It would work, but when we look at double rinks, we have 2 ice surfaces. We have place for staff. We have two sides for washrooms and change rooms and showers. We have a bigger space. We have availability to self-isolate. There are fields there that people can go out, at least be outside or walk around a bit. So we chose, when I say we, it's like a whole collective group, that was probably the best of the 3.
I would actually agree with that too, knowing that West Ferris is limited in space-wise. Good choice, Al. Hey, number 4.
That's 4. I must be thinking wrong now.
now you're starting to second guess yourself if Dave's agreeing, right?
Oh, geez, Dave is agreeing with us. Maybe we should revisit that. No, sorry.
Hey, guess what? I've been doing some Googling about the city, and I found another survey out there that the city is at top of the list.
Okay. I'm reading.
The city of North Bay offers the best severance packages, apparently.
Ah, that's nice.
And I do have one other question just to poke you before we go on to something else, because I have to do this. You know that, eh?
No,
How many CAOs?
This wouldn't be a Dave Dale. This wouldn't be a Dave Dale interview without some of these type of questions. So, go ahead.
I know. Here's the question: how many CAOs do you have on the payroll for 2020?
1.
Perfect. That's the right answer. So, Al, personally, did you end up be able to share either virtually or physically, even at a distance, time with your family, grandkids and all?
Um, yeah, we've taken it very seriously. As you can imagine, the Prime Minister travels 25 kilometers, and it's like all over the papers and the media and social media.
How
So
dare he? How dare he?
I learned that even if I cross a jaywalk or cross on a red light, I actually have people saying, "Mr. Mayor, the light's red. You shouldn't be jaywalking." So I know people are watching very closely, but I do take to heart the recommendations. So when I leave work and there's only 5 people on this floor, I go straight home, and the only person that I can interact with is Wendy. We will walk our dog, and we'll see people on the street, but we're on the opposite side of the street, so we'll kind of talk across the road. But I don't, as I mentioned, I don't grocery shop. I don't go shopping at all. I go from work straight to home. Wendy does have to work. She's on rotating shifts. She works at the courthouse, as you know. So she works 2 days at the courthouse and 3 days at home. And she will go out grocery shopping. But other than that, that's all we do. We have a nice place on the lake, as you know, you've been there. So we're lucky, and we can go out for walks pretty easily. The challenge for Wendy and us is obviously our grandkids, because we have 3 grandkids, and Wendy is like, I'm fourth on the list, as you know, Dave. The 3 grandkids come first, and I'm last. So it is a really struggle for her not to be able to see them or hug them. But we are doing I don't know what you call it, FaceTime or whatever the different programs. The kids are on different apps all the time, and all of a sudden our phone or our computer starts making funny noise. We realize it's them calling in. So we are keeping touch that way.
So virtual, yeah. So that's cool.
All virtual. So Wendy has a type of arthritis, so it's a little bit more of a risk for her if she contacted COVID, and Corey has some challenges too. So we're always very concerned about the health side of things. So we take it very, very seriously. And if you have me as the mayor telling everybody to stay home and physical distance, if I don't do it once, then I'm not a leader either.
Yeah, but imagine it. Like we are lucky. We have some space on our property. We don't live really close to other people. We're not in the apartments, so it must be really, really tough for some people that are cooped up and don't have the options like that. Is there anything the city can do to try to help people understand they can actually, and it's better for them to get some oxygen, but how to do it safely? Or I don't know. Like it's really important people get vitamin D from the sun right now, and that helps your immune system. So I wonder if there's some way of letting people know it's okay, or setting it up so that they can get outside, because your parks are closed, right? So
yeah, it's a struggle, Dave. So like I've been doing the Moose interviews 3 times a week, and the number one recommendation I always start with: you have to stay home, right? Because that's what the medical officer of health wants me to say. But if you have to go out for a walk, right? If you have to go out for a walk or walk your pet, it's your sole responsibility to practice all the recommendations. So stay 6 feet away, all the typical recommendations. But mental health and physical exercise are extremely important. And I've been saying, yes, you can go for a walk. People are criticizing that, but you need to stay sane. Like you can't just be recooped up in your house, because mental health, I believe, is going to play even a bigger part a couple of weeks from now. So I reached out to Mary Davis. I reached out to some of our healthcare professionals saying, is there like a hotline number that people can call if they have concerns about mental health? Or are there recommendations on keeping your mental health healthy in these type of situations of quarantine and self-isolation? So we are working, trying to come up with a hotline. So right now, what we're saying is, if you're going to go for a walk, absolutely go for a walk. Just don't go where everybody else is. Don't gather. Stay away from everyone, and your risk is low. But if you touch a common surface, it could be a railing, and touch your mouth, then you're putting yourself at risk. So you can imagine telling people not to touch something or put your hands on your face. In this interview, it'd be interesting to see how many times we touched our face. I don't think either of us have done it yet, but it's natural too.
Well, I think I've been moving my hair around, so yeah, I probably come up with it. I try to keep my hands in my pockets, but it's tough.
Yeah.
But when you're in your own space, it's not that big of a deal, right? But when you're in public space, you have to act differently, and that's the hardest part, right? It's hard to train yourself.
But we're social people, Dave. Like you like being out just as much as I do, and you shake hands or you hug. And now it's like you just can't do that. And I mean, I was at PDAC. You imagine I was at PDAC at the end of February. 25,000 people around the world were there in Toronto, and I was there supporting the mining sector. And the federal minister of health saying risk is low. And
Yeah.
now I'm sitting there going, oh my God, if I would have known what I know 3 weeks ago, I would not have been at PDAC. So,
well, I was standing talking to you at the Davidi Club on the 7th, right, of March, right after you came back there, within a week, and the whole attitude was kind of light and fluffy. People were kind of joking about doing different type of greetings with their feet. We weren't really taking it serious at that point. I was standing there talking to you, and people. I was feeling a little bit claustrophobic because I was doing a lot of reading, and I did know it was an issue, and I did realize people came in from Toronto and they were coming in from Florida, and I was starting to get a little antsy about it, but not enough to protect myself. I don't think I would have been there had I really known what was going on, I guess.
well, and I think it was 2 days later that I went into self-isolation just out of abundance of caution after I was chatting with you.
Yeah. Well, once that
'Cause
guy then from Sudbury was
tested positive.
yeah.
So you go from, I've been at PDAC, going to the BD Club, and there was 150 people in the room, easy. No one was self-distancing. No one was even concerned about it because we were being told right from day one, low risk, low risk, low risk. And then it seemed like within 2 days, overnight, somebody snapped their fingers and said, absolutely not, you can't do that. And I think it was really, if you really look, because people will criticize sports, I think sports got it first. So you saw the Basketball Association cancel their season, right? So nobody else is stopping anything. And the NBA goes, we're canceling our season. And then you see the NHL going the next day, we're canceling our season. At no time did any government say, by the way, let's just have smaller crowds. The sports world were leaders in closing down their sports and their leagues. No one's given them credit. They should get credit for that.
Well, they're on top of it, but they have the best lawyers and whatnot, and they knew their liabilities as far as having to pay millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars to these players if they get, they're forced to be into these situations. So, yeah, they made the right decision, but I'm pretty sure it was a liability call.
So you're giving the credit to the lawyers, not the leagues.
No, I'm putting the blame on the lawyers.
Well, the lawyers, you're going to be the favorite person of the Law Society, Dave. Perfect.
Yeah, well, I'm sure there'll be a lawyer to represent me. He'll just want to own my home. But hey, it's an interesting time, eh? I hope you're taking notes for that book you're going to write.
Yeah, the one thing about public life, Dave, is it's like there's a story every day, every single day, and you read stuff, or God forbid you're on social media or the blogs, because they just destroy you. But at the end of the day, you put yourself out there to try to make the best decisions for your community. And I'm very fortunate. I've got a great council, and we were firing on all cylinders until COVID hit, and now we recognize we want to be ready when it gets lifted. But yeah, Dave, I think I'll get you to write it. I'll just I'll send you the video to say, here, type it up for me.
Yeah, well, when the time comes, we'll negotiate a ghostwriting fee schedule. How's that?
Well, you could say story as told by and written by Dave Dale. So I'll give you like front page, and you can actually put it on your Bit of the Bay magazine, because we didn't plug that yet, which we should be doing.
Yeah, I'm going to be dropping off my April-May edition pretty soon. It's out this week. We put 4,000 copies in the mail for the post office to deliver. They should be getting them today and Monday.
People are talking about it. Like I've had people. I'll be honest, Dave. I got an email from one of the counselors saying, "Hey, did you see the latest Bay today?" I don't know how he got it in front of me, but he actually sent an email asking about Bay or Bit of the Bay. So I thought that was fantastic. So people are.
I'm trying to save $4 on your subscription, so I put it in your mailbox myself. So that's why it's delayed getting to you.
I sure hope you're wearing gloves when you drop it off, by the way.
Oh no, I do even better than that. I definitely lather up with the disinfectant first, and then after I touch your mailbox, who knows been touching that, then I lather up again after every mailbox. So yeah, I'm pretty safe.
You actually do that?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, because every mailbox could be carrying something, and nobody like me knows, right? So when people do get their mail, this is what I advise them to do. Wash your hands after you touch it and set it aside until you really need to look at it. Give it a good day or two. And especially if you put it in the sun a little bit, but just give it a day or two, and then it's safer. You can also wipe them down with Lysol. Anything that comes in your mail, you should probably just do that as a matter of course. That's my safety net.
Right from Dr. Dale.
Yeah, that's it. And make sure you get your vitamin D. Everybody's missing out on vitamin D, and that's really essential for your immune system, especially when you're fighting respiratory issues.
So, I want to tell, I don't know how much time we have, Dave. Like, people have probably tuned us off like 15 minutes ago, but.
That's cool. Let's keep going.
So two things. We had to take our dog into the vet emergency on Easter weekend. So you can imagine during COVID, we're thinking, how do you go to a vet's place, right? Because those exam rooms aren't very big. And of course, we're nervous, right? Thinking, how's this going to work? And I want to say this. So we got to the emergency vet place. You have to call, right? You get there, it says, call this number. They call you. You have to give your credit card first. And then you basically have to leave your dog tied up to the door, back up. They come out, grab the dog, go in, honest to God, do the examination. You go back and sit in your car. They'll call, and then you stand 10 feet apart discussing the diagnosis, right, and what they have to do. And in our case, our dog had to stay overnight, and we picked her up the next morning. Same protocol, get there, phone, make your payment and everything. Anyways, so we didn't come within 10 feet of the vet the whole time, and we put the dog in the truck, right? So no interaction at all. I'm thinking, how many other businesses are doing those type of protocols? So I want to give a shout out to the vet place on Gertrude Street. I'm trying to think of the name now. Dr. Barnes was our vet there. Anyways, kudos to them, and I thank them. You could tell they were nervous, right? They didn't want too much interaction between people too. And the other one, I had to go to the bank yesterday for the first time, because usually you just have a credit card or a debit card, right? And I had to go make a deposit, and I'm on Main Street, and I'm at the ATM. So it's a little vestibule. I won't say which bank, but they all have vestibules. And I'm thinking, how do I push the buttons now?
Yeah.
You start thinking that way. And I don't have gloves. I had no gloves on me. So, and I had no Q-tips, because somebody told me about the Q-tips about getting gas. You just pay at the pumps and use the Q-tip to push the buttons, right? And then you can just throw the Q-tip in the garbage. Anyways, so I just grabbed a piece of paper. So I was always using the paper to hit the buttons to be safe. And I had this hand sanitizer. But I didn't feel comfortable. And then the door opens and somebody's standing behind me. And I'm thinking, okay, now I'm in a smaller vestibule and there's somebody standing behind me. Now they were 6 feet away, but I'm thinking, yeah, this isn't what I was thinking when I was going to the bank. And it was really neat, because as I started to go back towards the door, because that's kind of where the person actually went further away and turned, and I walked out the door.
Yeah.
So people are getting it, and including I should have had a pair of gloves.
Well, that as long as you clean your hands after you touch things, like you're bound to have to touch things. So, and your hands, it's kind of weird because if you use your gloves, you got to throw your gloves away or clean them, right? So just as long as you clean your hands after touching something, you'll be all right. Dr. Dave says so.
Perfect. So is it Dr. Dave or Dr. Dale?
No, Dr. Dave.
Dr. Dave.
I wouldn't want to be, assuming my actually trying to, be a doctor. I've criticized people for. I've criticized real doctors from using their doctor thing, so I better be careful.
So Dr. Soapbox.
Oh, yeah, I'll take that one. Yeah, sure.
So what are you doing this weekend?
Probably breaking all kinds of rules.
Well, that's no different. What are you doing this weekend?
I'll be sticking around. I got some projects around the hacienda here. I don't have any plans. I'm not traveling anywhere, and I don't have anybody coming over that I know of. And if I do, it'd be less than 5 people. And I certainly wouldn't have a fire. That's breaking a rule, right? So, which I think sucks. I think the fire ban sucks. I'll just say that.
Yeah, I look at our fire pit too. When you're at the house, right, you're going, what would it hurt? But I understand why they banned it, because the last thing they want is emergency people out fighting forest fires. But at the end of the day,
no, they didn't even. That's not even the right reason they banned it. They banned it so that they wouldn't encourage people to get together because they wouldn't want it to be too enticing. I think that's just so paternalistic. Like there's snow in the bush, there's rain. There was no risk of fire this month. Maybe in May. Well, I don't know.
If they didn't want people to get together, Dave, they would close the beer stores, the liquor stores, and the wine stores.
No, that would just be massive protests. And there'd be some unscrupulous entrepreneurs that would probably become bootleggers.
Yeah, that's a profession I kind of remember 30 years ago.
Hey, well, Saved by the Bell. I'll let you take that, Al.
Okay, thanks, Dave. It's great chatting as always.
So hit the stop recording thing, and then I'll see if I can download it.